Hello and welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. I'm Brent, sitting here with Dustin. Week 10's upon us, and also the trade deadline's upon us. So if you're one of those elite teams sitting at the top with a really deep bench, what you should be looking to do is a consolidation trade. And what I mean by that is take one of your starters and one of those good bench players that probably aren't going to get much run for you anymore, package them, and get a guy that's going to upgrade you at that starting position.
And on the opposite end of that, if you're a team that lacks depth, go ahead and take a look at your best player, then go around the league and see which teams have depth that they can afford to give up and do a 1-for-2 trade. Take your best player and get 2 quality starters that you're going to be able to put in your lineup and get a deeper team. One other thing, or a couple other things, don't forget to take a look at week 14 through 16 matchups. Whenever you're doing a trade at this point in the season, you're going to want to make sure you're not trading for a guy that has a terrible playoff schedule. And also take a look at the Cardinals' schedule from here on out. It's ridiculous how easy it is. So if you're targeting any Cardinals players in trades, we think that's a very good idea at this point. All right, let's get into our startup sit-ems. We start with a new forum member, a Harry Helmet.
He loves it. He loves that.
Makes me laugh every time. He wants to know Jamal Charles versus Oakland or Felix Jones versus Green Bay, and he did mention that you get a lot of points for return yards in this league.
All right, the fact that return yards plays a huge role, we're actually going to go with Felix Jones, and here's why. Green Bay's flat out going to put up more points than Oakland this week, which means Felix Jones is going to have more chances for return yards. And Felix Jones always has that capability of breaking a long one. We just feel like Felix Jones is the safer play in that kind of format. All right, Dustin, the real Tom Brady wants to know Ricky Williams against Tampa Bay or Mendenhall versus Cincy.
This one is hard because Mendenhall looked great last week, but Tampa Bay's given up around 160 yards a game on the ground. I don't see how you can pass up Ricky Williams this week. I know he's probably only going to touch the ball maybe 10 or 15 times, but I don't see how you can pass up on it. I think Mendenhall finds your bench this week. All right, Brent, we got one from Jay Salvo, 220. Wants to know Kevin Smith versus Minnesota or McFadden versus Kansas City.
All right, let me preface this with the last time that Kevin Smith played Minnesota, I picked him as my dud, so obviously I hate that matchup for him. But you're going to have to go with Kevin Smith, unfortunately. McFadden's coming off that injury. It's really unclear how many carries he's really going to get. It might only be just a couple of touches to kind of get him back in. So Smith is a safer play, but by no means expect big things out of him. All right, Dustin, last forum questions from R. Kelly81. Wants to know Miami's D versus Tampa Bay. Knocked me out of the damn suicide pool, but that's a different... How did Green Bay... Or Pittsburgh versus Cincy.
This one's hard as well. I know Pittsburgh's D's been playing really well lately, but so's Cincinnati's offense. Miami going against Tampa Bay, I think they can get some pressure on the rookie quarterback, forcing him to make mistakes. I think Miami versus Tampa Bay is the much safer play here. All right, let's get into our studs, duds, and sleepers. We're going to start with Mike's. His stud is going to be Drew Brees against St. Louis. I mean, there's no reason not to think he's not going to blow up. His dud is Kevin Smith. We talked about him earlier. He only has one game where he had over 100 rushing yards so far this season. Tough Minnesota defense. Doesn't like the matchup. And his sleeper's Pettigrew, the tight end for Detroit. While Minnesota has a tough run defense, they have some holes in the secondary, and they've given up the most fantasy points to tight ends so far this year.
All right, my stud's going to be Chris Johnson. He's playing a Buffalo team that gives up about 1,382 yards a game to running back. So, I mean, Johnson's just going to run all over him. It's going to be ridiculous. Feel confident with him, obviously. My dud's going to be Sims Walker. They're going to the Meadowlands. I really think this is going to be a run-first type of game. Little battle between Thomas Jones, Maurice Jones-Drew. So I just don't think Walker's going to put up those huge numbers he's been putting up lately. And my sleeper is going to be T.O. Now, get a little disclaimer, the injury is kind of odd, a little nagging injury, so if he doesn't play, obviously he can't be a sleeper. But if he does play, I really think he's going to burn this Tennessee secondary.
All right, my stud, I'm going with Adrian Peterson against Detroit. Obvious reasons there. My dud is Ladell Betts. He was the most added player this last week, but he's going against a tough Denver D, and I just really don't see him getting it going this week. And my sleeper's Mike Bell. I'm going with him again this week. He screwed me last week, but I blame D'Angelo Williams in that breakout run. But I don't see New Orleans getting down early this week. I think Mike Bell has a big game in the second half. Look for him to rebound and get you maybe 8 to 12 fantasy points this week. So that's it for this week's show. I'll be back Tuesday night for the Waiver Wire show. Until then, good luck for this week's matchups.